An estimated 34,000 Illinoisans are still waiting to expunge their cannabis records, according to the Sentencing Policy Advisory Council. This after more than 2 years since the recreational cannabis law was legalized, or since recreational cannabis was legalized in this state. Part of that law created a pathway to clear a person's cannabis record. Joining us to discuss cannabis expungement and more are State Representative LaShawn Ford, a Democrat from the west side of Chicago, and Brandon Williams, supervising attorney at Cabrini Green Legal Aid. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us. So, Brandon, let's start with you, please. Your office has been partnering with the state as part of the New Leaf Network to provide free legal counsel for those with cannabis-related offenses. Briefly walk us through sort of the process of clearing cannabis from someone's record.
Sure. Thank you for having me here today. So we are part of an organization called New Leaf, Illinois, which comprises about 20 different community organizations or legal aid organizations to assist with expungement for cannabis records. And so part of the process is automatic. So if a person just has a minor cannabis arrest, those are going to be automatically expunged. If you have a conviction, meaning you were sentenced, then those have to be either done by the governor through a pardon or by the state's attorney by filing a motion in court, or a person themselves can file their own motion in court to have their cannabis conviction vacated and expunged.
Have you seen much progress in the amount of cases that are being reviewed across the state?
Absolutely. I think as of about 3 months ago, there have been about 500,000 cannabis arrests and convictions that have been expunged. However, there's still a large number of conviction arrests that are still out there that have not been processed as of yet.
Representative Ford, do you think there's enough transparency within the legal system when having a cannabis case expunged?
No, Brandon, thank you so very much for this opportunity. I don't think that we have enough outreach, but I think transparency is there. The state has spent $1.6 million right now to hire 20 organizations that's helping get the word out. And when I talk to Mr. Williams, he tells me that people in the north, and that is the city of Chicago, they don't know about this help that's available. But people in the rural parts of Illinois, they are aware and they're taking advantage of it. But as he said, Brandon, over 500,000 records have been automatically expunged from the records. That's over 318,000 people, individuals' lives that have changed as a result of this law.
And just to clarify, Representative Ford, you believe it sounds like there's a disconnect between getting the information to some folks here in the city who might need their records expunged versus those maybe in the suburbs or more rural areas.
Yes, Mr. Williams tells me that we have to do more, and we've committed to working together to make sure that the message is out, because people may be a little confused. They may have thought that the convictions were automatically expunged, but it is the records, not the convictions. So we're getting the word out, and we're going to try to increase the money that's used for legal aid for people.
And Brandon, from your perspective, are there very lengthy waiting times for people who are waiting to get their cases reviewed?
It kind of depends on where they were arrested at. So most convictions have to be expunged in the area that they were arrested in. So it may take a little longer in the city of Chicago to get that record processed, and it may be faster in the suburbs or in the other locations throughout the state of Illinois, just depending on the staffing in the clerk's office.
About how long are we talking about?
So it just really depends. Like if you need to go through the normal petition to expunge process, it can take about 4 to 6 months on average. In the city of Chicago right now, there is a huge backlog, and all the parties are working to get through that backlog. So it may take over a year to actually get a hearing date and get those expungements processed.
Representative Ford, part of this law passed in 2019, it came with the intent of creating diversity in the state's cannabis industry. Do you think this law has lived up to its promise?
It has increased diversity there, but it hasn't lived up to the true intent. No, it hasn't. And we're going to do everything. I'm going to fight until we can get as much diversity in this state as relates to cannabis businesses for communities that's been hardest hit and families that's been destroyed because of cannabis.
And Brandon Williams, same question to you. Do you think this law has lived up to its promise?
Not quite yet. There's a lot of work to be done. I think one of the biggest steps is for the people to be aware that these services are available, and then taking that step to call or to go to the website at newleafillinois.org or call 855-963-9532 to get the process started.
And what are some of the challenges for people who need to go through that process? There's a cost associated with expungement usually. What are some of the challenges, Brandon?
So some of the challenges are, cannabis may just be one conviction or arrest on their record. A lot of people are going to have a lot of other convictions or arrests. But the great thing is that we just don't help with the cannabis arrest or conviction. We try to get their whole criminal record expunged or sealed. And so the cost to speak and get assistance from an attorney, for the most part, is free. There are filing fees, but there is what's called a 298 waiver, where people can apply to get all the court fees and costs waived. That option is available to them.
Sounds like it helps, though, to have somebody kind of walk you through that if you're not very familiar with it. Representative Ford, what more do you believe needs to be done to help the communities that have been hit hardest by the war on drugs?
I think we have to intensify the funding. We're only spending $1.6 million to provide legal aid. I mean, there should be public service announcements to let people know that help is available. And we need to make sure that we work with the courts so that we provide them with the resources to deal with the backlog. But I have to give the state police and the state's attorneys and the courts a great deal of respect for working together to clear all these convictions, and the governor for being committed to that.
Okay, that's where we'll have to leave it. My thanks to Representative LaShawn Ford and Brandon Williams for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.